to think about a dream. Whatever dream that is, I want you to invest in that dream. I want you to believe in that dream. I want you to dare to do that dream. And if you dare, you'll be able to do. This is your moment to be present in your dream. I love you guys. Leave it on the deck.
Hi APTC, my name is Anna King. I'm so happy to be here sharing some information with you today. I am a 2020 graduate of Marymount Manhattan College in their BFA Musical Theater program. I laugh because my last semester has gone very differently than the rest of my college experience did, and it feels weird to say that I'm still in college, but I'm kind of not because none of us are in school at all right now. But I'm excited to share some information about nutrition and health and just overall wellness with you today. I'm really happy that so many people are taking their education in their own hands and just kind of going out into the world and finding resources out there. So you're not alone. We're all doing this together, and I'm happy you're here. I'm also an alum of APTC, and I really believe in the work that goes into training and shaping young artists' minds. So thanks for being on this journey with all of us. We're all working with what we have. Okay, so I want to talk today about what it means to focus on nutrition for actors and the sort of 80-20 wellness philosophy that I operate under, and I know a lot of other people do as well. It's kind of a popular philosophy when it comes to intention and nutrition. So thanks for watching this video. I do understand though, and I want to briefly talk about the fact that when a lot of people think about wellness or health and wellness, there's a lot of shame. And there's a lot of discouragement that comes with just hearing the idea of health and wellness because of what's been put out in our society for so long. Our life as artists is just like constantly put under a microscope, and I understand that our bodies can be part of that. I want to encourage you, and I really, really challenge you to start thinking about nutrition and health and wellness not in terms of your body, but in terms of being the best version of you, not necessarily the best type that's put out there by producers or artistic directors. You know, if we're going to change and shape the way the world thinks about bodies and humans and uniqueness and diversity, we have to accept the diversity within ourselves. So I hope that this is not triggering to you at all, and if it is, please take everything I say with a grain of salt. You don't have to listen to anything I say, but I hope you can use my experiences and my resources as just kind of a jumping off point for you exploring your own, exploring for you what it means to be healthy and well within your own body. I recently kind of came to the understanding that the world is not going to be accepting of us unless we are accepting of us. So I really want you to focus on nutrition and not necessarily focus on how that makes you look. And I know those are really hard things to separate, but especially within this conversation, I'm not going to be talking at all about how you should look, and I really encourage you to start thinking about how you want to feel. And that's more what I focus on in this video. So my nutrition or wellness journey really started about 4 years ago when I went to college to study musical theater. When you're studying musical theater in college, it's so easy to fall into the trap of, I'm going to die to my art and I want to do everything I can to learn everything I can. This goes into not sleeping, not eating well, not treating your body with respect, and which is something that a lot of young artists, especially in college or high school, really struggle with. Thinking that you don't need to treat your body with respect to then get a good outcome in your artistic endeavors. That is a horrible, horrible, horrible trend in our society, and I really encourage you to start shutting it down now. I had an acting professor sit me down and talk to me and say, you know, you will never do your best work hungry. You won't. No actor, no dancer, no musician will ever do their best life work while they are starving themselves. So I also hope you are able to recognize that, like, eating, just generally speaking, eating is so good for you, okay? Eating is healthy, eating is normal, eating should be normal, and eating is what you do to take care of yourself. So if you are just a human being and you eat food, you already, step one, you are taking care of yourself, and that's so important. I think it sort of goes without saying that, you know, we as artists are very critical, and we can look in a mirror, we're trained to look in a mirror and see the problem and fix it. And we're trained to look at ourselves and see the issue and fix it. And I know that this is what so many people do with maybe their weight or their body, but what we need to start doing is look inside of ourselves and say, how do we feel, and try to fix that. And that's what I did with wellness. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I am not a trained nutritionist. I don't have a degree in anything like that, but I'm speaking from life experience and working with doctors and nutritionists to figure out my life plan, and I hope that's helpful for you. So the first thing I want to talk about, it's very simple, the idea of just eating and what to eat. And this boils down to kind of two categories of eating food, and most people know about these. Some people don't. I personally did not. I was never taught anything in school about how to eat or what to eat. It wasn't until maybe my senior year that it was even ever mentioned, like briefly mentioned once in a random class, okay? So you have to take this into your own hands. But the concept of macronutrients and micronutrients is kind of where we start. I'm sure you were raised with like that food pyramid. That has been debunked. The food pyramid is not essential to our everyday lives. You can do there's a lot of resources out there where you can research that. The food pyramid, get it out. That is old news. Macronutrients and micronutrients is the new way that we kind of define what to eat and when to eat. Macronutrients is easy. It's macro. Macro means big. So these are the big things that your body needs the most. Micro, small. So they're things that your body needs, but in a lesser quantity. The big macronutrients mostly boil down to three things: protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And they're things that are sort of triggering for a lot of people. I tell people, like, carbohydrates aren't bad. Carbs are not bad. Carbs are essential. That's really hard for a lot of people. Or the idea that fat is not bad. Good news, attention, scream it from the rooftop. Like, fat is not bad for you, especially like now in our society, all this low fat stuff. Low fat stuff is horrible for you. If something says low fat on a label, do not go near it. It's pumped full with so many different chemicals and things to make it low fat. Not worth your time. And it's really not worth your body's health to put it at risk just to have something low fat. So putting these three things together, carbs and protein and fats, that's going to make the best meal to sustain you for the longest time. I always give the example of like my favorite perfect ideal breakfast. This is what I love making for myself in the morning, and it's actually been a while since I've been able to fully prepare this meal for myself. But a simple breakfast I love that sustains me for like the longest amount of time. It's some simple gluten-free toast. I'll get into why I am gluten-free in a little. Gluten-free toast, and then I have some avocado on top, and then I put an egg on top of it all. So let's easily break that down. Protein in the egg, done, easy. There's also a lot of micronutrients, like different vitamins and minerals in an egg. And then we get to the avocado. That's a pretty good fat. It's a healthy fat for your body. And then if we get into the toast, I mean, for me, it's a simple carb. It's not as great, but it's still a carb, okay? So that's like breaking that down in an easy meal. Understanding just how to build simple meals is something that actually a lot of people don't know how to do. I didn't know how to do that for a long time. I thought breakfast could be, a hard-boiled egg. But no, there's no carbs in that. You might have the protein, but your body can't break that down. You don't have the energy to do that. You need a carb. Sometimes people think like, oh, granola bar, that's a breakfast. No, that's just carbs. You're going to burn that energy really quickly, and then you are going to be exhausted later. And the name of the game is sustaining yourself. So if you need to, do 2 shows a day, 8 shows a week, and you're exhausted and you're not eating right, you're not going to be able to do your best work, right? So the goal is sustaining yourself and putting energy into your body, the right energy and the right mixture. Touching on veganism really quickly, you hear in the media, a lot of people are so scared of like veganism or whatever. Veganism can be so wonderful. You just need to make sure you're still getting all those 3 categories. I am mostly vegan in my life. I don't eat a whole lot of meat, but when I do, I'm very intentional about why I do, and there's also intentional reasons about why I am mostly vegan and don't eat meat, but those are more environmental rather than specifically nutritional. But understanding for me that there are things that I can eat that make me feel better and make me feel worse. Those are things you have to test out for yourself, and a lot of people find if they adhere to a vegan diet, they feel a lot better. So some simple ways to kind of change like everyday things that you put in your body. Look at the labels, like really read labels. The more ingredients, usually it's not as great for you. If you can't pronounce things on labels, that's really probably something you should stay away from. Switching, from peanut butter to more of like a nut butter blend, like with maybe cashews or almonds, or going, don't drink milk as much, but drink maybe a plant-based milk. Just simple changes like that will help you a lot. I'll also talk about gut health. I mean, that's something that has been huge in my personal experience. I mean, sort of unfortunately, but also fortunately, I couldn't ignore the concept of gut health anymore. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of your hormones that are produced to help you get through the day or get through your life or grow up or change, whatever, those hormones are produced in your gut. So when your gut is not healthy, you can't function at the proper level. That is why gut health is so important, and people talk about gut health so much. It's mostly because that is what contributes to your everyday and gets you through the day. Another idea of that is that what you put in your gut really does matter, right? So if you're eating garbage all the time, you're gonna develop some gut issues, maybe leaky gut syndrome, which is like kind of the extreme, but a lot of Americans have and we don't even know. So then when you eat good foods, your gut might not even be able to process it, and you might even not be able to, you might not reap any of the benefits of those good foods if your gut and your stomach and your colon are not able to work through and process those foods together. I found this out for myself. I was having a lot of gut issues and just in pain a lot, and that contributed to, I was diagnosed with a hormone disorder and my body wasn't able to function as well. And I went to the doctors and they wanted to put me on this medication that, would help the hormone disorder. But I realized as a performer, as a musical theater performer, I would not be able to continue in a lot of my classes at the same capacity if I was on this specific medication. So I started working with a nutritionist, and that nutritionist helped me a lot, and he helped change my focus from, not just how do I feel, but how do I change how I'm feeling and manipulate that with food, and how do I help heal my gut. The way I have done this is through cutting out foods that are not good for me. I was always pretty good at being healthy, but somehow something still wasn't working, and I was still, I would have a lot of health issues because of it, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And he helped me realize after some testing that I did and research that we did together, I tested as a food sensitive for gluten and dairy and caffeine. Well, the irony of it all is that I had gone vegan around the time I got tested, so I was eating a ton of bread. I was feeling better in some regards because I wasn't eating dairy, and I usually stayed away from that, but I was eating a ton of bread to compensate. So then, of course, my body just blew up, and I was in so much pain. And because I was in so much pain and I was exhausted, I was drinking a lot of coffee, and that coffee was helping to substitute all those issues that I was having. But then on the coffee, the letdown from, like, after I had a cup of coffee, a few hours later, oh my gosh, I would crash so hard, and I would be so anxious and in such pain and moody, and I could not figure out what was going on. Found out dairy, gluten, caffeine, 3 things that I just can't have. I have some intolerances with them. Not allergic, not gonna die, but as an actor, I need to take care of my body and sustain myself through, hours and hours of classes. I lived in New York City when I figured this out, and so walking miles a day, I was like, I can't keep going like this. So it's been about a year now, and I cut out those foods, and it's helped me so drastically. And I will say, for you, you don't have to go to the extreme of cutting out everything that's potentially bad for you, because it's no use to live in fear either. That doesn't help your immune system. It destroys your body, honestly, slowly over time, stress and raised cortisol levels. But understanding that there are also inflammatory foods out there, such as dairy, gluten, caffeine, alcohol. Treating your body with respect, you'll reap good efforts from that. So for me personally, cutting out those inflammatory foods, I've seen amazing benefits from it, and it's healed my gut pretty quickly, honestly, and I've seen some great change come from all this stuff. And I still, work with this nutritionist, and sometimes it's like peeling an onion. You take care of one thing in your body, and sometimes something else will pop up that you need to address and, mend for yourself and heal yourself. But I want to encourage you to look at food as something that is so useful, and you can use food to help your career. You can use food to get that energy, and treating your body with respect really goes such a long way. I know I've rambled a lot, but I also want to get into kind of how to live your life in this regard. So when you focus on food and you focus on gut health, and you're like, well, I can't eat this package of M&Ms because the ingredient list is so long, and oh my gosh, this is awful, and I'm gonna die if I eat this, and oh, I can't have meat because meat, is very salty and inflammatory, and oh, I can't have caffeine because if I don't have coffee. Like, if you operate in the system, you are going to hurt yourself more because you're suffering and you're stressed yourself. Stress is also a real big issue for a lot of people in their gut and in healing their bodies. When your cortisol levels are raised, your body can't operate. Your immune system can't operate to its highest capacity. Listen, I'm a classic Enneagram 3. If you know about Enneagram 3s, we love purpose. We love doing things to get a goal and an outcome and find success and those sort of things. If you don't like the Enneagram, that's fine. I'm obsessed. But the Enneagram 3 just helped me realize I love to attack things and I love to figure out solutions. So I was like, oh, I have to cut out everything unhealthy. I can't eat anything healthy. That wasn't healthy for me. Because sometimes you want to live. Sometimes you want to go out with friends and celebrate a birthday. Or sometimes you want to be with your family for Thanksgiving, right? You know, these are things we have to consider as well. So there's a philosophy that I discovered just through my own research, and it's something I've adapted myself, but it's this 80-20 philosophy. Okay, so to get yourself at 100% sometimes means that you're overwhelmed. So the philosophy I started following is that 80% of the time, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try really hard. I'm going to eat what I know is good for me. I'm going to fight really hard to get those deals at the grocery store and get those organic produce and less toxins, whatever. I'm going to really try for 80%. And then that last 20%, that's the fun. So Saturday night, my friends want to get together. I recognize, obviously, I'm not going to destroy my body with awful foods and things I shouldn't be putting in my body, and I don't want to spend all of Sunday recovering from that. But I recognize, okay, if I have some Sour Patch Kids, oof, that is my go-to. But if I eat some Sour Patch Kids, that doesn't mean that that's me cheating on my diet. That doesn't mean that's my whole weekend is ruined because on Saturday afternoon I had a handful of Sour Patch Kids. That just means that was 20% of my week. That there you go, I can have fun every once in a while as long as 80% of the time I care about what I'm doing. Honestly, I think you'll find, as a lot of artists go through college and high school, specifically those 2 times in your life, it's more so 80% fun. Really easy to fall into that trap. And then you try to get that 20% of real effort in your health, and people are like, why am I miserable? Why am I so anxious? Why is my mental health such a mess? Why do I feel so low energy all the time? And it could just be because you're not giving yourself the respect that you deserve as an artist. These are all things I've discovered. They're not things I've done perfectly, but they're things that if you start earlier in your life, if I had started realizing how I was feeling earlier in my life, things would be very different now. And if I treated my body with more respect and took time to focus on wellness, it would be very different right now. And I also recognize that a lot of people, that this is very triggering. The idea of watching what you eat and being very careful about the things you put in your body, I totally recognize that. And I will say this is not always for everyone, and everyone needs to find what works best for their bodies. But staying away from specific inflammatory foods like gluten or caffeine, things that affect your vocal cords, and making sure your meals are focused on the macronutrients where you're putting a lot of good things in your body to sustain yourself so you're not hungry and you're not craving things you shouldn't have later. If you follow those minor changes in your life, you'll see great outcomes and you'll feel a difference in your body. So thank you so much for watching and listening to me ramble. Sorry, I talked fast because I tried to get a lot of information in there. If you have any questions, a lot of people ask me, well, how did you start working with a nutritionist? How'd you get tested? What do you find works best for you in terms of packing food? I get a lot of questions because I have an Instagram. It's very small. It's mostly just people, my friends, who like to ask questions and follow my health journey. But I have an Instagram called 8020team. You can find me on Instagram. I also have my own personal Instagram, which is Underground Fiddler. I have a website, annaking.actor. Those are all ways that you can reach me and kind of follow my own health journey with me. I encourage you to find what works for you. And there are also so many podcasts. I actually got a lot of my information from Dax Shepard. He interviewed Ben Platt. We all know and we all love Ben Platt. Dear Evan Hansen, what a man, his voice, hello. But he talked about how to help his voice get through those 8 shows a week. He cut out gluten and caffeine for a long time while he was in Dear Evan Hansen, because he recognized what he put in his body really helped him function as an actor. So the Dax Shepard Armchair Expert interview with Ben Platt, if you like podcasts, I'm obsessed with podcasts myself, I encourage you to listen to that, and it gave me a lot of good understanding about how a lot of actors really operate in this field of being intentional about what they eat. So intentional living, kind of a hot topic right now. A lot of people are very interested in how to use food and wellness to change their life. I encourage you to do this. Whatever age you are, it's never too early to start doing this. But it's also never too early to recognize that the sooner you accept yourself and you see yourself as the best human you can be, the world around you is going to learn to accept you and all of us, and we all can change the world like that. And I will also say, if there are any other really strong-willed people out there who like to set goals and accomplish a lot, I mean, the Enneagram 3. The Enneagram is wonderful. Learn about the Enneagram. It helped me with my personality. But if there are any other people like that out there, I'll tell you, it is not worth dying to your art. Sacrificing your body for your art, not worth it. You can sacrifice a lot of things for your art. But giving your body up and not taking care of yourself, it's really not going to help you. Might be trendy. It might seem like, oh, that person works so hard. But in the long run, your body is your instrument, and if you don't take care of what you put inside your body, you're not going to be able to project out, and you're not going to be able to change the world with your art. So thank you for listening. I really encourage you in your wellness journey, and obviously even if you have any questions, you can reach out. Find me on Instagram at 8020team. I'm happy to talk with you about how you can take some steps for what's best for you. Thanks.